record this. If certain things are a bit confidential. Okay. See, in the interview, if they ask you why I can see only 3 or 4 projects in your resume. I could see that you mentioned 4-year experience. The issue here is I just pass this. So they don't have to check everything manually. Everything is automated. In case of any job files, it will automatically trigger an email, or it will trigger a message to it will trigger a SMS message or something like that. Okay, so usually they trigger it to email, official email ID. In that email, group of people will be the senior manager. All the people will be, uh, depends on the type of the error or the issue. The respective alerts will be sent to the appropriate distribution list. For example, if the issue is less complex severity level, okay, we have something high severity, medium severity, low severity. If it is a low severity, there is separate distribution list, and that group of people will be there. Their email will be grouped, and this thing, this issue will get automatically sent the messages to that group of people's email IDs. And then we have some medium severity, high severity. If it is high severity, all the companies, everyone will be there in that, because there are some jobs very critical. If that job depends on the other jobs, right? You have something called predecessor job, successor job. If any of the job fails, entire job will fail. Almost 200 to 100 to 200 jobs will fail. Okay, so that is the reason why what they do, right? So they have a different distribution list, and again they prioritize which jobs that needs to be um, fixed in a much faster manner. Okay, so severity level 1, they have some kind of like the turnaround time. There are some jobs, they define this turnaround time. Okay, so what is the turnaround? So the turnaround time will be 4 to 8 hours. If the severity level is very high, there are some cases 2 to 4 hours you need to fix it, no matter what that issue is. Okay, otherwise it will have serious impact on the business. Like I said, if the job has any dependency, for example, we have the fact table, and then you have the dimension tables. Dimension tables like customer table and in product table. If any of the this job should run first, these jobs should run first. Sometimes these jobs will run in parallel. It's not like sequential. These jobs will run. If any new product comes, if any new customer comes, the data should go first here, and then only the transaction made by this specific customer will get into your fact table. Okay, because the fact table will have only the foreign key columns of your dimension tables plus the facts. Okay, these are the two things. The foreign key, what will happen is if this job fails, it will go and insert this specific customer's invoice detail in this fact table. In that point in time, if that new customer key is not available, ideally it should be available first here. Okay, without having a key for the customer here, you should not insert any new customer's key here. Even existing customer also the same rule. Okay, if the key is not, because here the product key also the same thing. If the product key is first of all not available here, but in this transaction you are inserting the product key. Here what happened while loading the data, it got failed. But how will you get the product key, right? So your job will fail, obviously. First, these are called your predecessor job. Predecessor jobs. If the job fails, you cannot proceed anything. Okay, it'll fail. What do they do, right? In case of any job fails, the subsequent job will halt. It has to be halt, and it has to depend on, unless this issue get fixed, the rest of the job will not fail, so will not proceed. But what happens is, since you have in the interest of meeting the SLA time, service level time, all the jobs will run in parallel. But most of the time, for example, product dimension, customer dimension table will get loaded. But once all these dimension table get loaded, you need to load it. Only these tables get loaded, you need to load this one. Again, if they have something like the snowflake schema, you have the dim category. Okay, if you have new category, then it should get inserted here, and then the specific product that belongs to the category, subcategory, all these dimension tables. Within this dimension table itself, we have dependency. And let's say in the case of star schema, yes, you have the all these dimensions needs to get loaded first, and if any one of them fails, it should not proceed loading the data here. There are some cases what will happen, yes, even in case of any issues, you reject it here. Okay, instead of failing the entire job, we reject it and load it here. So here we have some kind of dependency. In case of any job files, the an email will be sent to the support team. They are the one. It's a dedicated team. The monitoring team. So what they do is they will get alert message during US time. Their people will be, or our people will be sitting there, or their team will be there. And what they do is as soon as they receive, they will check. They have given some kind of documentation like this. If the error is something like this, you yourself can jump in and restart the job. Okay, even after they restart the job, as per the steps that we mentioned, the document, support document, if that job fails again, if it is not getting resolved, what they do is, they are level 1, they will escalate it to level 2. Okay, and level 2 people, they need to jump in, and then they need to see what is the issue, and they need to resolve it. Why this specific records got failed, job failed, sometimes network issue. Okay, while loading for a specific time, right, at the specific time, 10 a.m. 3 seconds, that point, when this load came here for the product or customer dimension, due to network issue, it was not through. So what happened, by 10:05 a.m., the other job will, that is related to fact tables, will get loaded here. In that case, what when the corresponding keys were not loaded because the network issue, that specific, those specific jobs got failed. In that kind of situation, you can tell them, yes, all the issues, everything will be raised in the Revit system. We have something called intranet. The intranet, they raise the tickets. Like I said, in my website also I have ticket. If you have any issues, you can raise a ticket. Okay. So what likewise, right? It is the process that they follow it. Any issues, they will log in their remedy ticket. And then what they do is they'll assign it to the appropriate team member. Level 2. The level 1 person cannot fix it, and if it is too technical, right, then you will escalate to level 2. And level 2 also, if they cannot fix it, is very, very complex, and then they will involve escalate to level 3. Different support team. The advantage of saying that you have worked on the maintenance support project, they will believe you. Yes, it is going to be 3 years duration. If you say, they will believe it. Okay. Otherwise, if you say I worked 4 years, my experience, and all through the 4 years I just worked on only 4 projects, then they will think your profile is not genuine. Okay, and the next one is, yes, how many years can I put? You can say, 2.3 years you worked. Okay, what are the what are the issues that you posed it? How did you resolve it as part of this current project? Current project, it involves in the development, not a full-blown development. Okay, and enhancement. It's nothing but enhance existing report, enhancement, and ad hoc reports. You need to create some additional report because the existing reports not sufficient. They wanted to create some additional reports, or enhancement is something like existing report. They wanted to add few columns. They wanted to change the business logic or something like that. Okay. So in that kind of situation, you will be involving in development, developing new reports, involving in creating ETL jobs. Okay. And second thing is, job failures. In case of any job fails. So what are the reasons? One is the connectivity issue. The common thing, connectivity issues. Number 2 is formatting issue, data format issue, and any delay in any delay. For example, yes, the customer table, while loading the data, it is loading, it is not failed, but it takes a lot of time to load it. By the time when other tables got loaded, but by the time, right, by the time it, you are yet to insert the customer data here, the fact table, the transaction data went in here. There is a lag here. Unless and until this one should, get inserted successfully, this one should not happen, but this one is taken care automatically. There are some time, right? Still, this will take more time, okay, than the usual. In that kind of situation, also it can fail due to some delay in loading the data in the predecessor table. The job can fail, connectivity issues and data format issues not correct. Suddenly, what will happen? Some text data will get into the number column. So in that case, what will happen is the text data, when you try to load it into the number type, it will fail. So connectivity issue, format issues, delay in any job thing, right? So this kind of thing, the job can fail. And apart from this, there are some cases like mm, dependency issues. Okay, dependency issues. So this one, yeah, that covers this one, the delay part, right? That covers dependency is there, but still, what happens? See, we have defined everything correctly. See, this one should run by 3 a.m. And since there is no dependency between product dimension and other dimension table, along with this dimension table, it can run in parallel, but all these jobs when it completes it has to generate some empty file or something like that. So your job should go and check all the empty files got generated for these things, and then only the data will get loaded here, the transaction data. Got it? So in case of any delay, any specific job, if it takes more time than the usual, then what will happen is in that kind of situation also cause job failure. So you just go and analyze, and sometimes what in the SQL query, you have used the direct query. In that case, or stored procedure. In the stored procedure, they were using SQL queries. They are joining 4 to 5 tables. But what happened? The specific report, it was taking longer time. It was hanging. Okay, it was taking longer time to display the data. So in that kind of situation, also the customer will raise the complaints. They raise a remedy ticket. This report takes longer time to populate the data. So when we analyzed, we could see that they have invoked a stored procedure for that specific report. In that stored procedure, they were using multiple tables. So in that case, what happened, in the join class of those tables, right, in the select statement, and the index got failed, corrupted. Index, they already created the index, but the index got corrupted. We have escalated to we worked closely with the DBA team, and we escalated them, requested them to create a index, recreate an index. So since they took time to recreate the index, right, so there was a delay there, but after they recreated the index, the performance was good. Another thing was like the query was not using the index. We enforced that query to use the hint. In the previous day, I explained how to enforce an hint or the query to use the index. Okay, so these are the things you need to tell them. Performance related issues, report performance issue, DAX query issues, and SQL query issues, SQL stored procedure issues. You can tell them. Okay, so more than your project in this kind of situation, they are very particular about these tasks. This is to check whether you really worked in the real-time project or not. Okay, so okay, you are saying that query performance issue. So how do you make sure that the issue is with the SQL query or DAX query? How do you check that one? So we use we conduct some kind of diagnostics. We have Power Analyzer tool is available, and then we have SQL Profiler is available. The SQL Profiler, when we looked at it, that is the first place where we looked at it, took longer time. So we start time, end time, and the duration, when we saw that, the duration was way too longer compared to the usual, on all the days when we compared the average duration with that specific day's average duration, it was way too high. Hence, we decided something wrong with it. There is no point in waiting. There already it crossed the SLA time. Better we will kill the job, and then we will take a look at it, why it takes longer time. And other thing is, okay, the query was taking longer time, but in some cases, what happened, we were not using direct query, but we were using some bigger flat files. In that case, also it was causing. In that case, we just checked. We used the performance analyzer to diagnose what was the issue. So, okay, what is the, how did you diagnose with power performance? And can someone tell me? I explained you. So how will you diagnose the issues in the report, in the report script? Why don't someone tell me? Parvatpadi, why don't you tell me now? Or others? How do you diagnose? How do you conclude by viewing the power analyzer's output? How will you? What are the metrics or the measures that you will take a look at it as part of the power analyzer? Nitesh, not you.
Okay.
And how about others? Sai Sudha. Okay. Okay, Nitesh, you go ahead. Yes.
Sir, we check text query type and the visuals time and the report time in the performance analyzer.
Yeah,
And we'll
tags query.
start.
Yeah, in the case of direct query, it will display direct query. Okay, see in this power analyzer, what we do is we go to the view ribbon, click on the power analyzer visual, and then what you do is you need to refresh, click on the refresh visuals. What will happen, all the visuals will get refreshed. You need to click on one or at least 2 to 3 times, right? And then you will get a objective idea about what is happening and which visual takes a longer time to populate the data or render the visuals. So you have something called the DAX query, direct query, and visual display, right? These are the three things, and others. What is others? So until other visuals. So in the case of Power BI, all the visuals are interactive. So what will happen is until the other visuals get refreshed, there will be some kind of delay. So that is what others. And then how much time it takes to render the visuals. Okay. And so those kind of things, we can see it. And for example, in our case, in a specific matrix, it was taking longer time compared to all other visuals. And what we do is just we use that option copy code, and then we copied that, and then we just analyzed it, and we tried rewriting it. So I have shown you one example. We were using filter table expression to filter the data. Instead, we use the keep filter. After we introduced rewritten the DAX query, we could see an improvement in the performance. We could see an improvement in the performance. So we are able to improve the performance by 10 to 12%. Okay, full stop. This is regarding your performance. And the SQL query side, how do you? The SQL query explain plan. We have something like explain plan, execution plan. In the execution plan, just we will look at whether it is actually using the index or whether it is doing the full table scan. Apart from this, the joint conditions, right? Have they used the proper joint condition? Everything, we'll go and check it, and then we'll try to rewrite the logic. In case even after creating the index, if we don't see any improvement in the performance, we're going to some cases what happened, the index got corrupted and they recreated and the issue got resolved. So these are the tasks that we performed as part of. So this is not a one day show, because we have close to 1,000 plus ETL jobs are running. Okay, and also close to 200 to 400 reports are automated in our system, because I worked for a large retail chain. So these you need to quantify this one. Okay, and right. So that's how. And then we create some new reports based on the requirement. Okay, apart from these tasks, we create the reports, all the things. Okay, additional reports. That's all. Fine. Okay. This is how you can tell them. So for the last 2.5 to 2.3 to 2.4 years, I've been working this, and apart from this, I was working in some other development project. Fine. They'll be happy, and again they'll ask you what are the challenges that you posed it. What are the challenges that you proposed it as part of the current project and the previous project? Data issues. We pose a lot of issues with the data. A lot of inconsistent values were there, and also helping the stakeholders to understand the impact of having the inconsistent value or there in the data set. And then we set up a call with our stakeholders or application owners, and along with the data governance team. So, and then they understood how it is going to impact, and what they did, by working with them collaboratively, we were able to um, address those kind of data inconsistency related issues. Apart from this, the data model design, we had some issues. Okay, and they have used the cross filter direction, both. Okay, bidirectional cross filter. In some cases, what we did, we just took a look at it, and then we introduced some kind, bridge table. After we introduced the bridge table, the issue got resolved. You remember one of the data modeling sessions, I explained about that. How to, one aspect is you can use the measure instead of enabling the cross filter direction manually, we can use the DAX function. Above all this, I have explained to another approach. How many of you remember that? How many of you in this batch only I remember very well? Yes, Priyanka, tell me. We create duplicate table, right? So that is for role playing dimension. Are you talking about role playing dimension? Nitesh Kumar, yeah, you remembered. Why don't you tell me, what approach we used it?
Sir, we have created a bridge table. In the bridge tables, there's a foreign key, and foreign key is a primary key of the two tables.
Okay. Okay, with that we were able to remove. Yeah, cross
Resolve.
filter DAX function is there, but
Yes, there's a DAX function called cross
yeah, cross
filtering.
filter is a DAX function. We can use it. So
Yes.
apart from this, right, even we avoided the DAX function cross filter also. So we introduced some bridge table. With that, we were able to address that. But we have used both DAX function as well as this one. Okay, these are the questions you can expect. And if they ask a question like, if you have so many inactive relationship, will that have, how is that going to affect your system? How did you handle that one? You have so many inactive relationship between tables, specific tables. So how did you handle those kind of scenarios? Obviously, if you have multiple inactive relationship, it will take a longer time to do the filtering because you need to enable each and everything, activate it using cross filter function. So one way is, yes, we'll see to that. Is there any way we can create the role playing dimension? So in that way, we'll try to reduce too many number of inactive relationship, those kind of things. Okay, so now what I will do is, fine, these are the points that you need to remember it to crack them. See, this is not a rocket science Power BI, but I don't want to underestimate the same time. But when it comes to real time project, most of my student, almost 60% of my students, they pose a lot of challenges in understanding the requirement document, everything. Okay, but remaining 40%, they were really lucky. But we cannot say, right, we'll be lucky all the time. So there are some students in Zenzar, they recruited them, and 2 to 3 months they kept them on bench. They did not assign them on any project. Okay, but that is an exceptional case. You forget it. This one, you need to equip now itself. But again, at least now you cannot learn everything as part of the training program. 3 months program. See, in the real time scenario, the project's duration itself 6 to 7 months, 8 months, 10 months. You cannot learn everything over the night because the volume of the data are very huge. It's all in cloud, and here I cannot show you that huge volume of data and all as well. But what I will do is explain you uh, the project, right? So I will explain you one real-time project, how, but for that I will use some fictitious name.